This is Esther.
And this is Maria.
And together we
are the Consort Counsellors. In this episode we are talking about a fascinating technique, vibrato.
Vibrato is a fluctuation of the sound in pitch and in volume. And it's also one of the most powerful expression tools that we have when playing the recorder, so we must use it wisely.
We like to see vibrato as a kind of ornamentation, and according to the style period you play in, there are a certain set of rules to use it, but in our opinion, there is no music where you cannot add any vibrato, because vibrato exists in infinite ways. And anyway, we are not machines like organs, where the air is traveling all the time the exact same way to produce the sound.
Today we want to give you some tips to have control over your vibrato, and we are going to do this with the help of our friend Walter van Hauwe and his book The Modern Recorder Player. We give our own twist to some of the suggestions in his book. If you want to know more, check it out.
Today we are working on the basics of breath vibrato. And at the same time we also focus on how to get rid of an unconscious, continuous, fast vibrato.
Next week we will bring you another episode on vibrato, and then we are going to focus more on the musical functions of vibrato, but also on a second type of vibrato next to the breath one, which is the finger vibrato.
It is good to realize where in our body we make the vibrato, and ideally this is not done with our respiratory muscles down here, but in the larynx, the upper part of the neck.
This may feel a bit contradictory, but if you think about it, it would be a little bit silly if every time we want to produce a beautiful vibrato you would see our belly shaking like a bowl full of jelly. What you just saw and heard was not a very controlled and also not a very beautiful vibrato. To develop a very controlled vibrato and do everything we want with it, we do need to start with our respiratory muscles, because they hold the air and they give us the basis we need to create that beautiful sound. If you need some tips to work on that, check episode 17, where we have quite a few exercises on breath support.
Let's go through some exercises to get the perfect vibrato. Let's take our altos in 440 and we are going to play the following pattern. Starting on the high D, we are going to play very loud and rich, and we are going to drop our air pressure gradually until the note drops in the previous register, like this.
When we play the complete pattern now, we are going to hear 4 different low pitches when the sound is dropping. Don't worry about the tuning of those, just focus on the action you are producing.
Move the respiratory muscles as little as possible. Try to keep them tight, especially when the note drops to the lower register, because then our air pressure drops and we need to keep our muscles tight to control it. Please do this exercise if you have an unwanted, continuous, fast vibrato. You will get rid of it with this one.
We have a bonus exercise for you. You can add one more note to the exercise, namely the middle G. When you drop that one, instead of a lower note, you'll get a flageolet tone. And if you can keep that one stable and beautiful, You have very good control over your breathing muscles.
To discover the feeling for making a proper vibrato, laugh not too loud like an evil witch, like this.
Focus on feeling how the side of the tongue is touching the back teeth. You can also sing a little canon or a song you know with this mean little sound.
The next step is play a high C and sing the rhythm of the song you just practiced with your evil laughter in the instrument. Now try to do this without singing and you will notice you will have yourself a good vibrato.
To have even better control, we go back to exercise 1, but now we are going to add a rhythm to it. We set the metronome to 50 beats per minute and we play up and down within 1 beat in a regular way, like this.
Let's try this faster and faster and you will notice that it will become harder and harder to get to the lower register. And this is a good thing because like that we get our perfect vibrato.
Vibrato!
And again, this exercise is very helpful for people that want to get rid of their unconscious, fast and continuous vibrato.
Once you found your very nice vibrato with this exercise, there's one aspect you can pay attention to, and that is stay nicely above the pitch, but also nicely under the pitch, because then we will perceive that the right pitch in the middle, that's still your real pitch.
Next exercise, pick any note of a B-flat major chord. So B-flat, D or F in any octave.
We set the metronome again to 50 beats per minute. We will play a long note and have some vibrato waves in it as follows. 1 beat plain, second beat 2 waves of vibrato, then plain again, 3 waves of vibrato. Every time we add 1 more until we get 6 waves of vibrato in 1 beat, then 1 more beat plain and then we stop. We show you exactly how it works.
In the next round, change the pitch in the chord because it's really important to feel how you should adjust your air pressure with the different register you play in. And also change instrument and you will see how different it feels.
Based on these principles, you can create tons of different exercises in different tonalities, different registers, passing on different rhythms through the ensemble. Use your imagination and you'll have loads of fun!
A general rule for us in music is when half-tone steps appear in your melody, it is vibrato alert time. Because with these chromatic steps, the music conveys emotions or affects where it is proper to have a personal coloring on your notes.
To conclude today's exercises, we have a descending chromatic motive. We are going to color every second note in this motive with 4 waves of vibrato, regular within the time of the metronome. However, we do have freedom to choose what is the amplitude of each of those vibrato waves. It can be that you stay very close to the central pitch, so very little amplitude, or you may be farther away, both up and down, and then you have a completely different expression.
The second player plays the following counterpoint without any vibrato, apart from the last A, because this is where you end in unison with player 1, and the goal is to understand the amplitude player 1 chooses for this last A, so that the note melts together as if you are one player.
You can repeat this exercise 2 by 2 going through the ensemble in a chain. So we have now player 1 and player 2, then I can be player 1, the person next to me will be player 2, and so you can go through the circle until it's closed. Change the tonality, change the tone with which you start the exercise, and try it on different instruments so you have more and more control over all your vibratos.
Repeat this exercise, but instead of varying the amplitude, vary the speed of the waves. So adding more waves to the note or less waves to the note, but keeping the same amplitude.
Or total freedom. Vary the amplitude and vary the speed as you like. Be an artist. With this exercise, we are slowly getting into music making because this is a beautiful chromatic line. Next week, if you stay with us, we will tell you more about the musical use of the vibrato techniques we just learned.
To sum up, a basic vibrato has 2 factors you can vary, the amplitude and the speed. And with these 2 factors you can create the most beautiful personal coloring of your notes.
I'm sure you know lots of recorder players who have a very characteristic vibrato when they are playing. If you know some of those recorder players or singers or players of other instruments who you immediately recognize and their vibrato, their coloring touches your soul, let us know who they are. We want to listen to them. Next week.
Bye bye!